Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon Perna, and free agency finally starts next week, even though it's kind of already started, and Jesus, I am ready for that shit to come and go. We've heard the word Cousins more times in the last few months than if I had to attend 10 family reunions, followed by 10 family funerals. Today, I want to make it simple. Talk about what I think the Broncos should try and accomplish and how that will lead to world football domination this free agency period. That's Good Sports. I do have big dick Patreon shout-outs for Zebra Manthong with a monster cock $21 donation. 21 is better than 20, guys, so just know that. Jamie Fleming, Kevin Childress, and JoJo25. Thank you. Please consider funding this channel via Patreon. I produced over 200 videos last football season, and I want to keep doing that. And without your support, that is impossible. So I also offer a Patreon-only podcast as a reward for my patrons, so do it. Pretend I am a cartographer, and I'm about to make you a map. A roadmap to success for the Broncos. First, keep your own players, Denver. You need to sign Matt Paradis and Shaq Barrett. I believe they're both getting tendered, and I hope both of those guys get long-term deals here in Denver. I think retaining Barrett is the most important in-house signing for the Broncos this offseason. The only guy I'd be okay with replacing Matt Paradis, though, is free agent center Ryan Jensen from Baltimore. He's got that beautiful red hair, just like Paris, but he's also a Colorado native and played his college football in Pueblo. And as you know, I'm a Pueblo kid at heart, and I know Jensen built that big, beautiful bod with many trips to Pasquis, Dewdrop, and pretty much any Mexican restaurant from Pueblo. Now after signing those in-house guys, the Broncos must have Paxton Lynch killed, murdered, whacked, whatever you want to call it. Which shouldn't be too hard because he's too tall to hide anywhere. His 2018 salary is $2.5 million, but if the Broncos cut him, they'll take a $4.5 million cap hit in dead money, which means Lynch is more valuable dead than alive. That's what dead money means. The only way they can justifiably cut him is if he's cut several times into tiny pieces that they feed to the defensive linemen who can't taste the difference between a hamburger and a human burger. The Broncos currently have 11 draft picks after trading Aqib Talib, and the serious question here is, can they get another draft pick for Trevor Siemian? I don't fucking know. Time is running out there, but they could easily cut Trevor Siemian. Problem is, he's probably a better backup quarterback than Paxton Lynch. But as I'm making the blueprint, the roadmap for success, if I could trade Trevor Siemian anywhere, I would trade him to Cleveland with Emmanuel Sanders and a third-round draft pick to acquire Josh Gordon. Not gonna happen, but that's what I would do. Now, for the offensive line, the Broncos need to add 3 pieces. 2 via free agency, 1 via the draft. Now, many people want Nate Solder because he will be available. He was born in Denver, and he's an Aries, just like my wife, best friend, and mom. So I know I would get along with him. As a 6'8" Colorado native who plays tackle, he's basically Tyler Columbus 2.0. One thing worries me about Solder, his age. Wait, what? Oh, he's only 29? Why did I think Nate Solder was like 38? Never mind, go ahead and fucking sign him. Solder did struggle quite a bit early in the 2017 season, but he was also dealing with some very serious issues at home. His baby son, Hudson, has a rare form of kidney cancer. Solder has dealt with testicular cancer in 2014, and while he's not an elite left tackle, he's good. He would be an upgrade, and more importantly, he has juggled some seemingly impossible situations in his personal life that to me make him the exact kind of guy I would want to be on the Broncos roster. Here's the kicker though. Denver should also sign free agent tackle Cameron Fleming, also a New England Patriot. If you do that, you take away good depth at tackle from your greatest threat in the AFC, the Patriots. Fleming is a 4th-year swing tackle that finished the season with a very strong performance for the Patriots at right tackle. What do the Broncos really need? A right fucking tackle. So either Bowles or Fleming could emerge as your new starting right tackle, and the other guy becomes your overpaid or overdrafted swing tackle, ready in case any injuries occur. Now that we've got the tackle thing worked out, the next thing you do is you make Vance Joseph go to the website dummies.com. and read the page, The Role of Special Teams in a Football Game. If Elway can force him to use this website's information to write a report, prepare a PowerPoint presentation, present the PowerPoint to Joe Ellis, film himself doing the presentation, and break down the film of himself delivering the presentation, then maybe the Broncos won't look like such kickoff, field goal, punt, and punt return assholes like they so often did last season. On average, special teams accounts for 34% of all scoring in an NFL season. For the Broncos, it accounted for 6% of all scoring. Yes, I just made up the number 6%, but the point is, they were bad enough where you thought, shit, that sounds about right. The Broncos had the third or second worst special teams performance in 2017, depending on what metrics you like. I like the one that says they couldn't return any goddamn punts or give the offense any goddamn field position advantage. Next thing the Broncos need to do is consult with anyone about the offensive line other than the people you have consulted with over the last 3 fucking years. Outside of Matt Paradis, you suck at drafting offensive linemen. Even Garrett Bowles, who may turn out to be a decent tackle, wasn't the right pick compared to Ryan Ramczyk. Ramczyk finished top 10 in the NFL as a tackle this season. I mean, even Russell Okung and Mike fucking Rimmers graded out higher than Bowles. If you look at Ramczyk's advanced grading, he was ranked 4th. Guess who was 5th? Andrew Whitworth, the tackle the Broncos didn't even want to try and grab last offseason. I know drafting and salaries for free agents are complicated, and by not signing a guy like Whitworth last season, let the Broncos roll money over into this year's salary cap. I get it, but your talent evaluation system via the draft is broken. All I intend to point out is that every instinct the Broncos have about drafting offensive linemen is wrong. Garrett Bowles was the first lineman taken in the draft, which means the Broncos could have taken whoever they wanted. And they chose incorrectly. Not Cam Robinson incorrectly, but still, they selected the second most penalized player in the NFL instead of a top 10 tackle in the league. If they do what I suggested earlier with Solder and Fleming, then cut Menelik Watson, Max Garcia, and draft Quentin Nelson at 5, they will have a very good offensive line in 2018. But will be forced to start Chad Kelly with no more money left, which, after watching his live Instagram story last night, gives me little faith in Chad Kelly. Unless, of course, Lamar Jackson falls into the second round, which he won't, because I think if he falls deep to the first, teams like Jacksonville or Washington could easily take him before that happens. Free agency, it's simple, get the right free agents. The Broncos need a tackle. I mentioned Solder and Fleming, but I also like Justin Pugh. He had injury issues in 2017, but before that, he played well at right tackle and at left guard. Again, the biggest hole on that line is currently right tackle. And if Stink played well in Denver, I believe Pugh can too. And after Aqib Talib was traded to the Los Angeles Rams this week, the Denver Broncos are in desperate need of help at the cornerback position. The Broncos need a corner like John Gruden and Mark Davis need to be banned from Supercuts. Now, I'm not sure what we can expect in terms of growth at the corner position from last year's rookies in Brendan Langley and Marcus Rios. Available free agent corners include Philadelphia's Patrick Robinson, Jacksonville's Aaron Colvin, Los Angeles Rams' Nickell Robey-Coleman, and then there are guys like Malcolm Butler and EJ Gaines. The big determining factor on whether or not Denver targets a corner in free agency is price. I think Butler and Robinson will be too expensive. EJ Gaines gets hurt too much, so I think Elway may look to Aaron Colvin from Jacksonville and Nickell Robey-Coleman from LA. Either would be a pretty good fit. Personally, I'd sign Nickell Robey. We already have a Robey corner in Denver, why not 2? And his first name is fucking Nickell. And we need a fucking Nickell corner. And if I had a Nickell every time I heard that, I would have 11 defenders named Robey. Finally, put a quarterback on the field that will pick up the level of play from the offense instead of throwing game-wrecking interceptions. If Kirk Cousins goes to Minnesota, is that Case Keenum? I don't know. I don't know. I personally like Case Keenum, and I think he can build upon a great season in Minnesota, but that's not guaranteed. If Denver doesn't sign Kirk, I expect them to draft a quarterback at number 5. Every single day, who the Broncos like in the draft changes. It's Josh Allen. It's Josh Rosen. It's Baker Mayfield. It's Sam Darnold. I don't believe any of it, because if the Broncos let that info out, they'd be fucking idiots. And I still believe they are not fucking idiots. I'll tell you who I hope they don't draft, Josh Allen. Look, he has a better arm than Tim Tebow and arguably Paxton Lynch, but he has accuracy and footwork issues. His ball placement can be terrible at times, and that's one of those things you don't see magically get fixed at the NFL level. If you have questions about a QB's accuracy in college, don't draft him. How many highly inaccurate quarterbacks coming out of college go on to be great NFL QBs? The answer is 0. If the Broncos do well in free agency and need a quarterback in the draft, it's pretty simple. Draft the guy who is 1, fucking accurate with his throws, 2, is mentally tough, and 3, is not Josh Allen. He's not Carson Wentz, and the Broncos already took a chance on a guy who played at a small school in a state where you can marry family members in Paxton Lynch coming out of Memphis. Sorry, Tennessee. So that's it, a very well drawn out map. A wish list. I just gave you a wish list. And like my Uncle Joe would say, wish in one hand and shit in the other. And then clap your hands because even your wishes will end up smelling like shit. Uncle Joe worked in the sewers, and if the Broncos don't make the team better this offseason, well, Vance Joseph and company may be calling Uncle Joe for some work next year. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please, for God's sake, subscribe here on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, share the videos. You have to share the videos on Facebook because Facebook is the devil. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna. Give me a follow there if you want to talk football. Also, Adam Schefter retweeted me, so pretty big deal on Twitter now.